Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark, and today is our preview of the American League East Division in 2025. The 5 teams in the American League East are the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Orioles. Getting our list started here, the team I have in 5th place in the American League East is the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays were relatively active this offseason, signed Anthony Santander to a big contract, traded for Andres Gimenez, they signed Max Scherzer, they signed Jeff Hoffman, definitely made some marginal moves around the edges. The Blue Jays lineup looks like Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Anthony Santander, George Springer, Andres Gimenez, Alejandro Kirk, Will Wagner, Ernie Clement, and Joey Loperfido. I do really like Bo Bichette to bounce back this year on a contract year. Obviously, love Vladimir Guerrero Jr., had an MVP caliber year last year. The Santander was a nice pickup for the immediate future. I think the 5-year deal for a future DH is definitely questionable, but for the next 2-3 years should be a 30 home run plus bat in the heart of their lineup. George Springer is really getting up there in age, definitely saw a serious decline in his skill level last year. Andres Gimenez, a great defensive second baseman, not much of a hitter. Alejandro Kirk, a really good defensive catcher, solid bat-to-ball skills as well. And then they have a collection of these kind of like quad A players and Will Wagner, Ernie Clement, Joey Loperfido. We just don't really know what they are at this point. Then over to this Blue Jays rotation here, we have Jose Berrios, Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer, and Bowden Francis. These guys are all relatively quality arms. I'm scared about the age here. You see some serious age with Gausman, Bassett, and of course Max Scherzer. Berrios is solid, he's quality enough, but overall, you can't really love this rotation. It's a pretty solid bullpen, though. Jeff Hoffman was the big free agent signing to be the closer for this team. Chad Green and Yimi Garcia have pitched really well for this team in the past. There were reports that Hoffman had big money contracts on the table with the Braves and the Orioles to be a starting pitcher. Both those contracts got nixed with physicals. So Hoffman does have some kind of looming medical issue here where 2 different organizations here in the Braves and the Orioles saw it and said we can't sign this player. The Blue Jays win total right now sits at 78.5 wins. I'm going to take the under here at 78.5 wins. This team has solid pieces, but as an overall unit, they're not a very talented ball club. I see them being sellers. I see them trading away the likes of Bo Bichette, maybe Vladimir Guerrero Jr. if they get the right offer. He, of course, has this whole situation this spring training about the kind of contract he wants. Maybe the Blue Jays decide they can't give a first baseman a $600 million contract, and they move him for some serious prospects in return. They also have a whole rotation here in guys like Berrios, Gausman, Bassett, and Scherzer who could easily be moved at this deadline. I just feel like the writing is on the wall here for the Toronto Blue Jays. I understand it's very tough to kind of close the door on a winning window here with the likes of Bo and Vlad, but unfortunately, it is now time, in my opinion. I see the Blue Jays selling at the deadline and going under 78.5 wins. In 4th place, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays were pretty quiet this offseason in terms of baseball players, but very loud in terms of where they're playing, stadium, their future. It's all up in the air right now. We do know for at least 2025 the Rays will play at George Steinbrenner Field, the New York Yankees spring training facility. And there are some serious ramifications about this situation here. The Rays are a team built on their pitching. They now call a home ballpark George Steinbrenner Field, who has the same exact dimensions as Yankee Stadium. And thinking about how the ball is going to travel in the summer in the really hot 90-plus degree days, the ball is going to fly out of there. The only real notable move the Rays made this offseason was bringing in Hae-Sung Kim, the infielder that's really talented defensively on a 2-year deal. He's going to miss probably April coming back from that labrum surgery, but should be a nice pickup once he comes back. And the Rays also brought in Danny Jansen, the veteran backstop, to catch for the team in 2025. The Rays lineup right now looks like Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, Junior Caminero, Josh Lowe, Danny Jansen, Jonathan Aranda, Christopher Morel, Johnny DeLuca, and Taylor Walls. I do like a lot of hitters in this lineup, truthfully. It's not a crazy star-studded lineup, but some guys with serious talent. Yandy Diaz had a down 2024 campaign, but still a very solid player in my eyes. I see that batting average jumping back up to around 300 this year. I think Brandon Lau's skill set can really play up in Yankee Stadium dimensions. Junior Caminero kind of has all the hype and all the talk around baseball on him right now. This guy is a top prospect. Josh Lowe, just like Yandy Diaz, another guy who had a down 2024 campaign. He's also a lefty with Yankee Stadium dimensions. For those reasons, you have to be excited about his 2025 outlook. I'm not super excited about Danny Jansen. He's got power for sure, pretty good defensively, but not much of an offensive player. Jonathan Aranda is a guy who's raked at the minor league level for years and years now. He's almost 27 years old now, so not much of a prospect anymore, but also hasn't really gotten a fair shake. So interesting to see if he gets a real opportunity here with the Rays in 2025. I've always liked Chris Morel a lot. He hits the ball really hard, has some serious power. The average dropped off big time last year. I think he'll probably be more of like a 240, 250 hitter going forward, but he's got 30 home run power. And DeLuca and Wallace at the bottom, more of kind of defensive specialist type players. The Rays rotation looks like Shane McClanahan, Taj Bradley, Ryan Pepio, Zach Littell, Shane Baz, and Drew Rasmussen. I'm not sure if this team is going with a six-man rotation right out of the gates here. Shane McClanahan, of course, coming back from his second Tommy John surgery, so definitely some risk there, but a guy like Zach Littell might just get bumped out and go to a five-man. Shane McClanahan was a Cy Young candidate when he was healthy, so definitely a story to watch this year. I think both Taj Bradley and Ryan Pepio have great strikeout upside, two young arms who look really promising. Zach Littell is kind of a depth swingman option, in my opinion, more of a sometimes reliever, sometimes starter. Shane Baz has been highly touted in the past. I feel like he's not that same kind of guy in terms of his upside and outlook, but could recapture that possibly if he gets his slider back. And Drew Rasmussen came back at the end of last year. He's another guy who, if he's healthy, could really contribute at a high level. The bullpen is a little bit weird, but the Rays always find guys. P. Fairbanks has been really good when he's been healthy. Edwin Uceta is a guy who kind of showed up out of nowhere last year, was phenomenal for this team. I think Fairbanks opens up the season as the closer, but Uceta finishes the year closing games. The Rays' win total right now sits at 81.5 wins. This is a really tough one for me. I'm going to take the over ever so slightly. I see this team going over 500, but 82, 83, maybe 84 wins. They're going to be in the thick of things. They're going to be a competitive team, but I don't see them making the playoffs this year. I will take the over, though, at 81.5 wins. In third place, I'm going to take the New York Yankees. The Yankees were very busy this offseason replacing the loss of superstar Juan Soto. They brought in Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Devin Williams, and Max Fried. I would say coming out of winter, this team looked pretty solid, around a 90-ish win team. Then spring training happened. Garrett Cole now out for the entire season, needing Tommy John surgery. Giancarlo Stanton has tennis elbow in both elbows, no timetable for a return. Luis Gil's out 3+ months. Suddenly, this team looks very shaky. The Yankees starting lineup looks like Austin Wells, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Anthony Volpe, Jason Dominguez, Ben Rice, and Oswaldo Cabrera. I just see so many question marks besides Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm. Austin Wells had stretches last year where he looked really promising, definitely fizzled out toward the end. Interesting to see if they do in fact lead him off. Aaron Judge is of course a superstar, a top 3 player in the sport. We got to see what Cody Bellinger does here. He had a great 2023 year with the Cubs, was pretty rough last year in 24. He's had some weird on-off seasons. He's a lefty in Yankee Stadium, so exciting on that front, but not really sure what he's going to do. Paul Goldschmidt's almost 38 years old, had a strong second half last year, but what does that look like in 2025? My only question about Jazz is his health. If he stays on the field, he should have a great year. This feels like a prove-it year for Anthony Volpe. He's now had 2 full seasons in the big leagues. Pretty good defensively at shortstop, but the bat is just not there. Dominguez has really impressive power and speed at the plate. He's kind of scary out there in the outfield, really unsure of himself. It looks like pretty much every fly ball gets hit to him, but the bat should be there, I think. Ben Rice has big-time power from the left side, but hit sub-200 last year. And Oswaldo Cabrera, to me, feels more like a utility infielder, not really a guy you want starting. I definitely see the upside in some of these younger players like Austin Wells, Anthony Volpe, Jason Dominguez, and Ben Rice, but there's just so much uncertainty around this group. The Yankees' rotation looks like Carlos Rodon, Max Fried, Marcus Stroman, Clark Schmidt, and Will Warren. Rodon now pushed up the depth chart in a pretty scary situation. I feel like you like him as a middle-of-the-rotation kind of guy, not toward the top. Max Fried should pitch really well. I thought that was a nice signing by the Yankees. He gets a lot of ground balls, limits hard contact, should age pretty well if he can stay healthy. Marcus Stroman gets his wish. He is a starting pitcher. Definitely not the guy he once was. He eats innings all right. He should keep you in games, but not someone to get really excited about. Clark Schmidt has definitely showed some flashes in the big league level of being a real starting pitcher. Had some really good starts last year in 2024, but he also has this now shoulder issue toward the end of spring training. The Yankees cannot afford another injury here. If they do, I think Carlos Carrasco might join this rotation. You definitely don't want that in the year 2025. So Clark Schmidt is something to watch. And Will Warren in the 5 spot had a great spring training. Pitches very similarly to Michael King, the former Yankee farmhand. So if they can get half the value, half the production of a Michael King in that 5 spot, they'd be feeling really good. The Yankees bullpen is very interesting to me because I always look at the Yankees bullpen as a major strength. It's always a really, really strong group. And of course, Devin Williams is one of the best closers in baseball. After that, it gets pretty dicey. Luke Weaver was great last year. He was phenomenal. He became the closer toward the end of the year, but he's also Luke Weaver, a converted starting pitcher, not a guy we ever really had great expectations for. Then you got Ian Hamilton, Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, Mark Leiter Jr. It's just not that lockdown pen of 4 or 5 arms you're used to seeing from this Yankees team. The Yankees' win total right now is listed at 88.5 wins. I'm going to take the under here ever so slightly. I see this team in the mid-80s range, 85, 86 wins. They're going to be very competitive for sure. They're going to be in the thick of the American League wildcard race the whole year long. But I just think they're dealing with too many injuries here. You lose Garrett Cole, your ace for the entire season. That's a tough pill to swallow, along with Luis Gil, your breakout rookie starting pitcher, rookie of the year winner. And Giancarlo Stanton, still a big power threat, supposed to hit in the heart of the order for this team. Might not come back until May, June, if that. We don't know what he'll be when he comes back. He's getting up there in age as well. So there's a lot of question marks around this group. In second place, I'm going to take the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles had a pretty weird offseason, lost two of their best players in Corbin Burnes and Anthony Santander. They replaced them with kind of a committee situation, bringing in a few different players like Tyler O'Neill, Gary Sanchez, Charlie Morton, and Tomoyuki Sagano. It was pretty underwhelming. This is a team with a really strong young core who kind of felt like they should be more all in and kind of spend more money for more upside talented players. The Orioles lineup right now looks like Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Cedric Mullins, Jordan Westburg, Colton Cowser, Tyler O'Neill, Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle, and Jackson Holliday. I love Gunnar Henderson. He has this little bit of an intercostal strain right now. Sounds like he'll be ready for opening day. He's an MVP candidate. This is a big year for Adley Rutschman, in my opinion. This guy is looked at as one of the elite catchers in the entire sport. Had an absolutely terrible second half. It was kind of believed he was dealing with some kind of injury, but definitely has to bounce back for this team's hopes for 2025. Mullins is pretty solid. Not a great batting average, but has power and speed, good defensively in center field. Westburg is a trendy kind of breakout sleeper pick here for the Orioles this year. Hits the ball hard, has good plate coverage as well. Colton Cowser put together a nice rookie year last year, has 25-plus home run upside. Tyler O'Neill is a guy who always performs pretty well when he's on the field, but has a lot of different injury history. He was kind of the big free agent they brought in here to supplement the loss of Anthony Santander. Ryan O'Hearn is an okay batter. I was kind of surprised they kept him around. Does have a good on-base percentage. He'll probably take the strong side platoon of the DH position. I think Mountcastle could really make out well here with the walls moving in. Maybe another 5 to 7 home runs, putting him around the 30 home run mark. And Jackson Holliday, we all know the name, Matt Holliday's son, one of the top prospects in all of baseball. While the lineup is filled with exciting names, the rotation is definitely not. It looks like Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton, Dean Kremer, Tomoyuki Sagano, and Cade Povich. Important to note here, Grayson Rodriguez, the ace of this team, is expected to come back around May probably. He's had some different injuries this spring training. He's kind of starting his ramp-up process, they're saying, but he's pretty much starting over, so it's going to take a long time. I do like Zach Eflin, a lot of quality starting pitcher. Don't love him as an ace for a team, but still a very solid pitcher. Charlie Morton at age 41 does not do much to excite me. I mean, he eats innings. He shows up every fifth day, which is really impressive at his age, but not very talented. Dean Kremer, another kind of just innings-eating guy that you're not really excited about. Tomoyuki Sagano, he's an older starting pitcher coming over from Japan, 35 years old. He pitched really well this spring training, definitely opened up some eyes, so he's a pitcher to watch this season. Cade Povich was a top prospect for this team. I think his prospect status kind of dropped off a little bit, but definitely has some upside as a lefty starting pitcher. The bullpen for this team is pretty strong. Getting back the mountain, Felix Bautista coming back from that Tommy John surgery. They have Sir Anthony Dominguez, Yainer Cano, Gregory Soto, some serious arms in the back end. I would say my two big stories to watch here for this pitching staff is one, how early does Grayson get back and how effective is he once he comes back? And two, Felix Bautista looks to be healthy to start the year here. Is he that same dominant, elite, number one closer he was when he went down? What kind of drop-off does he have? Can he pitch in back-to-back days? Lots of questions around those two players that are really important for this team. The Orioles' win total sits at 86.5 wins. I'm going to take the over here, but I don't feel great about it. I don't see this team seeing 90 wins, but upper 80s can definitely be reasonable, 87, 88, 89 for this team. I think they have a really good lineup. Definitely need some things to break right in the starting rotation, but I'll take the over at 86.5 wins. And the team I am picking to come in first place and win the American League East is the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox had a really strong offseason in my opinion, made some big-time moves, the likes of trading for Garrett Crochet and signing Alex Bregman, also some kind of savvy, smarter moves like Walker Buehler and Aroldis Chapman. The Red Sox lineup looks like Jarren Duran, Rafael Devers, Alex Bregman, Tristan Casas, Trevor Story, Wilyer Abreu, Connor Wong, David Hamilton, and Ceddanne Rafaela. Jarren Duran solidified himself as an elite superstar player coming off of that great 2024 campaign. I'm a little bit worried here about Rafael Devers, still having these shoulder issues. Looks like he's going to DH to start the year here, but he's 28 years old. He's a superstar player. You just want to see him be healthy. Alex Bregman just fits Fenway Park so well. This is a guy who's going to really perform at a high level in that home ballpark. Tristan Casas, big-time power from the left side, just has to stay healthy for a 30-plus home run year. Trevor Story's healthy right now. Health is always a story with this player, no pun intended. Wilyer Abreu actually had a quiet, really impressive rookie year. He's pretty solid out there in right field, really good defensively, hits pretty well also. Connor Wong is pretty solid, not a phenomenal catcher, but he gets the job done. David Hamilton's written down here as a second baseman for this team, but I think Christian Campbell still might break camp and be the starting second baseman for the Red Sox. And Ceddanne Rafaela, he's really good defensively in center field, an interesting power-speed combination. Want to see him hit for a higher average next year, but he's still pretty young. I already mentioned Christian Campbell here as possibly the second baseman for this team. They also have Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony, two of the top prospects in all of baseball, who are expected to make an impact this year. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Masataka Yoshida once he comes back from this labrum tear. He can't really play the field at all. They only DH'd him last season, would not let him play left field. He's so poor defensively, but he is still a really good hitter. So it'll be interesting to see if they DH him, put Devers at third, and Bregman at second. It's kind of a bit of a messy logjam there, but a lot of talented hitters in this group. The Red Sox are definitely dealing with some injuries right now in spring training in the rotation, but the current rotation looks like Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck, Walker Buehler, Quinn Priester, and Richard Fitz. They are missing about 60% of their starting rotation with Brian Bayo, Cutter Crawford, and Lucas Giolito. I am so high on Garrett Crochet right now. I think this player is going to win the Cy Young Award. Tanner Houck had a strong year last year, kind of made that full conversion from reliever to starter and performed at a very high level throughout. Walker Buehler is a total question mark and wild card. He had a terrible year last year with the Dodgers until the playoffs, more specifically the championship series, shoved against the Mets and then shoved against the Yankees in the World Series. What version of Walker Buehler are the Red Sox getting, that remains to be seen, but this guy has great upside. I think Quinn Priester is more of a rotational depth option at this piece, not really looked at as anything more. Richard Fitz is kind of getting some hype actually toward the end of spring training, throwing the ball really hard and really well. But this Red Sox rotation certainly needs their guys back in Bayo, Crawford, and Giolito sooner rather than later. The bullpen is certainly interesting to look at here. They brought in Aroldis Chapman. This guy still throws north of 100 at 37 years old. They are getting Liam Hendriks back in their bullpen as well this year. These are two guys in Hendriks and Chapman who are veteran closing pitchers with lots of history and lots of experience. Justin Slayton had a pretty good year last year, and Garrett Whitlock is a solid reliever as well. The Red Sox win total is sitting at 86.5 wins. I gotta take the over here. I see this team winning 88, 89, 90 wins for sure. I think it'll be a very competitive division, but I'll take the Red Sox at the top over 86.5 wins. And that concludes our preview of the American League East Division. To recap here, the Toronto Blue Jays are in 5th place. This is a team with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They need to decide on their direction. I think they have to rebuild, and soon they're probably going to have their hand forced once Vlad leaves. But this season, this trade deadline should be really interesting for the Blue Jays. In 4th place, the Tampa Bay Rays. Playing their games at George Steinbrenner Field, the Yankees spring training facility. That'll be really interesting to follow how that ballpark plays up for this team. In 3rd place, the New York Yankees, a controversial pick for sure. They have just been hit so hard with the injury bug this spring training. They have so many question marks on their roster right now. For that reason, 3rd place. In 2nd place, the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles have an exciting young core offensively, the likes of Gunnar, Adley, Jordan Westburg, Jackson Holliday, amongst other players. The rotation is not great. I think they definitely feel the loss of Corbin Burns for that reason, 2nd place. And in 1st place, the Boston Red Sox. I am buying into the hype. I think Garrett Crochet wins the Cy Young Award in 2025. I think Bregman's going to have a great impact for this team both on and off the field. And they have an incredible farm system to supplement their active roster. And that's going to do it for me. Hopefully everyone enjoyed this video. If you did like the video, please hit subscribe. Hopefully everyone had a great day, and thank you so much for watching.